everyone, it's Janet Wakeland here with Remarkably Created, and I want to start by giving a huge shout out to the graduating class of 2022, whether you're graduating from high school or college. It is definitely a really exciting time. Several of you have asked about this graduation card that I posted earlier in the week. And I want to go ahead, as promised, and I want to go ahead and put this card together with you guys. So I'm going to set this aside for just a second, and I want to just show you some of the supplies that we used. A Grand Kid is where the congratulations, so proud of you greetings came from, and we used a Memento black ink. The designer paper is from our retiring Abstract Beauty. This is an amazing assortment of 4x6 papers that have a little bit of that metallic built right into them. So you definitely want to scoop those up before they're retired and sold out. So we're using the Abstract Beauty. We are using Blushing Bride cardstock. We are also using basic black cardstock. For our dies, we're going to be working with a set of dies called Stylish Shapes. And you have circles and you have squares and then you have these little banners. And in this case, I used the square and the circle, and you'll see that in just a moment. So Stylish Shapes. And then the other die that we've used for the inside little treat is the mini pocket envelope. And in this case, you have the piece that cuts and scores. And to close mine off, I opted to use this piece right here. You have lots of other fun pieces as well. So that's where the elements came from. In addition, we'll be using our gold thread, and we'll be using some different assorted adhesives to help us with this project. Oh, and I did use 2 different rectangle dies, and I'll show you why this one's still out. You'll understand as we work on the card. So let's bring our grid paper in. And I have pre-cut the paper, and I will give you the dimensions as we go along. So this card uses a card base. It's not an open and shut card, and the fold is done with this lengthwise piece right here. So what we're starting with is a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you can actually get 4 pieces this size out of an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of cardstock. So again, this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then the designer paper was cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. I wanted a 1/4 inch border the whole way around. And because nothing else is being layered or tucked behind this paper, we can go ahead and adhere the designer paper right to it and set it off in the corner there. This piece of cardstock matches our card base. It's all still from that same sheet of cardstock. And this cardstock is 11 inches, 3 inches by 11 inches. There is 11 inches there just going this direction. So 3 inches by 11 inches. We're going to fold it in half, and we're going to give it a nice crease there where the fold is. We're going to open it up, and we're going to take our adhesive, give ourselves just a nice coating of adhesive. Take our card base and lay it down. I try to center it as best as possible with equal distance of the designer paper on both sides. Once I have that on, I'm going to give it just another good score. And then I have the exact same designer paper. There's 4 pieces of each print in the pack, so it works out perfect. But I just wanted it to coordinate, to kind of blend down into the card base below. And in this case, this is 2 3/4 by that 5 inches. Again, maintaining that 1/4 inch the whole way around. So let's go ahead and we'll put adhesive on this piece. And we can temporarily set that aside. So this is our base that we're working with, okay? And it will fit in a standard sized envelope when we're all done. But let's go ahead and let's start first with the graduation cap. In this case, I used the second to the largest stitched square from the Stylish Shapes, and then the circle from the Stylish Shapes. We're going to take 2 dimensionals, and we're going to stack this up a little taller, like this. And we have our little dot here. And it's gonna get taller because I want to be able to get ribbon around it. And now we need to make a tassel. I love using our clear blocks to make tassels. They have this indented groove, which makes them very comfortable to hold and to stamp with. But it also gives you an opportunity to slip snips and things under that. And you'll see that here in just a second. So I'm gonna have just a longer piece, maybe 2-3 inches off to the top. Okay, and I'm just gonna wrap this several times. Let's keep that off to the side. Around, just kind of depends on how full you want your tassel to be. And you're gonna end back up at the top, right here like this. And you can just kind of set that down, and then cut yourself another little length. And what you want to do is you want to put it in that channel and slip it underneath. And you just want to kind of tie that off. You could also tie it off with the other 2 pieces that you already had. I'm just going to use this extra piece, okay? I always tend to do things a little bit difficult when it comes to things like this, but then when it comes to cards, I like to keep it simple. I guess you call that balance, right? Some things I do the hard way, and then some things I do the not so hard way. So I'm going to hold it at the top. I'm going to put my scissors underneath here. But this way it's all kind of held together at the top for now. And now I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to lay this down. And I'm going to take a piece of tear and tape. And what I'm going to do is just secure these edges for just a minute. I just want to hold it down. I have another little piece of the cord. And I'm going to wrap it around. And I'm going to just, a lot of times tassels have that little extra piece up there. That's what I'm creating. And if you have another way of making tassels that's easier, go for it. Trust me. I'm always about, if it works, keep doing it, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it kind of a deal. But this just works when I'm working with this little twine and stuff like that. And then I can go ahead and take this off. I can just leave that on there now. It's not going to hurt anything. And let's cut this extra little piece off down, at least anyway. And I'm going to even this out just because it's going to make it easier to do what I want to do. And all I'm going to do is make a little knot up here at the top. And I'm not going to totally cinch it down just yet. I need to be able to get around. If you saw that, I need to be able to get around there. And now I've got that tassel that can just hang. And you can cut these pieces off as well and then hide them behind the circle. So you've got your little tassel. This one's longer, this one's shorter and fuller, and I much prefer the shorter and fuller one. But it's easier to demonstrate a long one on TV than it is, or on the video than it is a much shorter one, okay? And to shorten it up, all you would really need to do is trim it, okay? And tuck your things a little bit, so you could tuck it behind a little bit better and have a nicer, just by playing with this length here and using your scissors to give it a haircut. So let's get all of that off the table and we'll set that aside for right now. And let's bring in our rectangles. Normally I would stamp my greetings first and then die cut them, but in the interest of time, I went ahead and had them die cut already just here for you guys. And so proud of you. I think that's this one. Yep. Okay. So let's get our block here and we'll do the first one. But I always find it easier to stamp first, then die cut. That way I'm assuring that I'm getting it balanced the way that I want to. Now, if I bring this one back in, you're going to notice that it fits really nicely in that rectangle, and this one has a whole lot of extra room. I'll tell you about that in 1 second. Hang in there. This is that stay tuned, right? So, and then now let's just stamp this one. So proud of you. Okay, and we'll wash those ones after the video. So, sometimes you're going to have a greeting and you're not going to have the right size rectangle for it, right? In this case, so proud of you fits perfectly, but the next size up rectangle is this one, which is literally a bit much for the congratulations. It would have really overpowered the card if I had used that. So in this case, this is why you might want to stamp your congratulations first. And after it's stamped, I can lay my die back down on it just like this and run it through the die cut and emboss machine. And now I have that stitching on all 4 sides, but I know now where to put that. And I'm gonna end up with that narrower congratulations, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's that little tip. So we'll set those aside. And let's keep working, because on the inside of this one, we have this sweet little gift pouch, and now we need to put that one together. So let's do that together. Through the magic of video, I have die cut that mini envelope pocket. And as I mentioned, it does score. So it does have score lines. And anything that has score lines should always just have a good going over with your bone folder, your creasing tool. And just a little total side note, I absolutely love bone folders. I think everybody should own one. But if you don't own one and you happen to be a big fan of Pampered Chef, that little tool that they use to clean their stones really does not belong in your kitchen cabinet. Mine always was in my studio before we downsized and I sold all my stones, but it is a great creasing tool. So you've got those little scores done and happening, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and put adhesive on it. You can choose to use liquid adhesive. You can choose to use tear and tape. Tear and tape is just wide enough for what we're working with. And these fold up and in. So you're gonna take the tear and tape off both sides at once so that you can tuck at once. And we're gonna fold that over and just make sure that you get those tucked in real good, lined up. Give it a really good crease. You wanna really catch that adhesive to the back side so that it holds really well. And then I'm just gonna put another crease mark and fold that down. And this piece here, I actually did not adhere at all. Instead, what I did was I just cut a length of our twine to match. And a little cheat for you is come around the back. Nobody's going to see the back. It's going to be glued back down to your card. Take a little piece of tear and tape. And let's see, I'm going to make a bow, so I need a little extra. And I'm just going to hold that in place with the tear and tape for right now. And I'm going to create a bow in front of people. Bows are probably the most challenging thing that I do in card making and paper crafting. Everybody has their thing, and for me, it's bow making. My mother was a champion bow maker. There was not a bow she couldn't make, and I did not get that skill from her. So we've got that little piece. We can trim these down. And now on this back side, hold on a minute, before we do that, let's go back under. I want to make sure it fit all the way around. This gold piece is also from Abstract Beauty, and I'm just wrapping it to the back. And now we're going to take our tear and tape, because I really want this to stay on the card, because you know they're going to open it up and they're going to get the cash out or the little gift card that you put in there or whatever else it is that you've stuck in there, little note, little message. You know that they're going in there. So I'm going to use this tear and tape because I really, really, really want it to stick. And I'm going to open up my card. I'm going to make sure that it's behind the door. And just really, really rub it in. You really want to make sure that that adhesive is making contact with the paper underneath. You're going to give it that nice press. Grab dimensionals. If you don't craft with dimensionals, we need to have a talk. I don't know how not to craft without them, if that makes sense. So this one goes across here. And our graduation cap. We're going to put on a little bit of an angle. We'll eventually cut this down and it will go right here. and now you have this great card. Now it does fit in the standard card envelope. It will be a little thicker, as you can see from the side here, so it may require 2 postage stamps instead of just 1, but you can mail it. There's nothing here but cardstock and a little ribbon, so you don't need to pad it in any special way or anything like that. So have a little bit of fun making some graduation cards, guys. Even if you just simply take the idea of a square and a circle and using your cording to make a tassel, you'll be off and running, making all kinds of cute graduation cards. So thanks for popping in. You guys have an amazing weekend. As a military veteran myself, though, I do ask that you take a moment to honor the purpose of this weekend. Memorial Day is specifically set aside for those who have served us and have lost their life in their service to country. Little different than Veterans Day, which honors the living and the dead. Memorial Day is specifically for those veterans who have given their all. And if you have a chance to also, be thankful for the families that probably, just have stories and are missing their loved ones. And if you even have a moment to stop by a military or veteran cemetery here in the U.S., that's always something nice to do over Memorial Day. I know we'll be doing that on Monday. So have an amazing, safe weekend, guys. Take care.